Here's your news for July 20th, 2020. And your headlines for today include: WWE might have accidentally revealed something major at Extreme Rules 2020. WWE released an official statement on Rey Mysterio's condition. WWE announces injury to Apollo Crews. MVP declares himself US champ. Former world champion will be written off WWE TV soon. WWE reportedly released several wrestlers because they complained about issues in Saudi Arabia. Recently released WWE superstar demands more money from Impact Wrestling. Chris Jericho wanted Orange Cassidy to recreate famous WWE segment at AEW Fight for the Fallen. Why out of the blue Chris Jericho warned Vince McMahon. Dax Harwood shows off 4 Horsemen tees at AEW Fight for the Fallen you might have missed. Released WWE superstars make shocking debuts at Impact Slammiversary. Why Naomi is trending, and more. We're kicking off today with news from the horror show at Extreme Rules, as the show's Wyatt Swamp fight saw an unlikely face appear. As part of the cinematic main event, a hooded figure was revealed to be Alexa Bliss, who claimed that Braun Strowman had always wanted to be with her, and added that Wyatt could make that happen if the Universal Champion came home. Though it seemed like Braun was considering it, he was quickly ambushed by the Eater of Worlds, as this version of Bliss was just an illusion as part of Wyatt's mind games. While this Bliss may not have been the real deal, fans had plenty to say about her appearance and the possibility of Alexa being Sister Abigail. Miss 5 Feet of Fury even retweeted some of the fans' reactions, as it seems she enjoyed what she was watching. Fans will remember Alexa and Strowman teaming for the first season of the Mixed Match Challenge, and though a romantic angle was teased between the two, it was never followed up on. Aside from the popular Bliss appearance, fans didn't have many positives for the cinematic match, which was criticized for its slow pace and that Wyatt's promos didn't actually say much about their feud. Despite this, the match was ruled as a win for Wyatt, as Strowman was seemingly drowned, and since Braun won at Money in the Bank and Wyatt won last night, fans can expect a Universal title rubber match at SummerSlam. The Wyatt Swamp fight wasn't the only horror show last night though, as Rey Mysterio lost the gruesome eye for an eye match to Seth Rollins. In a statement from WWE.com, the company said that Mysterio was rushed to a local medical facility to be treated for a potential globe luxation, and added, "Medical experts were optimistic that if the optic nerve is not severed and there is not too much strain on the blood vessels and nerves that connect the eye to the rest of the head, there's a chance Mysterio can maintain his vision." This statement came after the finish of the match, which saw Rollins shove Mysterio into the steel steps and blood trickle from Rey's mask, and even a fake eyeball was shown. It sounds like WWE are giving themselves an opportunity for Rey to once again have full vision if he chooses to stay with WWE. And hopefully fans get an update on Mysterio's condition tonight on Raw. The horror show at Extreme Rules saw plenty of action, but one thing it didn't see was the US title be defended. Though Apollo Crews was meant to defend his gold against MVP, an alleged herniated disc prevented that, leading MVP to declare himself the winner by forfeit. Since this was meant to be a United States title match as well, MVP declared himself the new champion, complete with the new United States title design. And whilst the announcers made it clear that this title change wasn't official, we doubt MVP feels the same way. We are looking ahead to tonight's Raw, and although Ric Flair is expected to be on the show tonight to support Randy Orton, fans shouldn't expect him around for much longer. According to WrestlingNews.co, everyone has been told to be careful around Flair in the current situation due to his age and health. And though Flair is said to be happy in his newest manager role, it's been known for a while that this would be a temporary thing. Orton is expected to defeat the Big Show in tonight's unsanctioned match before moving on to Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, and we'll have to see whether Flair is by his side in the biggest party of the summer. Now, it's no secret that in April, WWE released dozens of their superstars and staff as part of cost-saving measures, and it's also known that many who were released weren't too happy about things going on in the company. On the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that some of those who were released had complained publicly about the travel issues following last year's Crown Jewel pay-per-view, and gave a few examples. He said, "The guys who had given the company bad publicity over Saudi Arabia, which was Rusev and Carl Anderson and Joe Hennig. The other one was Andrade, but Andrade is in the Flair family, so he was safe. There was a lot of bitterness." Meltzer also pointed out that the company is currently fighting a class action lawsuit from shareholders who believe the company misrepresented their deal with Saudi Arabia, and the fact that so many superstars went public about their negative experience probably didn't help matters. The irony of all this is, despite the company saying these releases were for cost-cutting measures, the company was on track to have its most profitable year without these cuts, as it sounds like WWE had an ulterior motive for many of these releases. Two people who were cut were Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who showed up this week in Impact Wrestling and are already looking for a raise. On Twitter, Anderson pointed out that Slammiversary was the #1 trend and asked Scott D'Amore to rip up the contract they've just signed and write up a new, better one. Impact may consider investing a bit more in the Good Brothers, especially with how well they worked at Slammiversary, and it'll be interesting to see where the careers of the former Raw Tag Team Champions go from here. One place we know they won't be going is NXT, but that isn't due to a lack of trying by the brand's leader, Triple H. Speaking recently, Gallows said how the game was hopeful that the pair would stay with WWE, saying, "He told us, if they're not going to use you up here, I'll use you in NXT. I think he saw the value in us, where we had been and what we had done, and veteran brothers and stuff like that. I think that, but who knows?" We'll never know what kind of difference the Good Brothers could have made in NXT, but with teams like the Undisputed Era and Imperium around, there would have been plenty of dream matches. Over to AEW now, and although Chris Jericho defeated Orange Cassidy at Fyter Fest, their feud seems far from over. During his Saturday night special, Jericho revealed an idea he pitched between the two for Fight for the Fallen that wasn't used, that would have given Attitude Era fans a bit of nostalgia. "I originally wanted Orange to come into the venue in an orange juice truck, kind of like Kurt Angle did with the milk truck or whatever it may be. But if you see at Daly's place whenever they have cars come in, Cody tried to drive it in that one time, and now they have FTR driving, and you can only get to a certain area and then you have to stop, so you couldn't get a whole orange juice truck, even if there is such a thing." The former AEW champion added that he's sure the company could have made something that would have worked, and given that the feud shows no sign of slowing down, freshly squeezed homage to Kurt Angle could still happen, but only after AEW leaves the Daly's place. We are looking again at WWE's April releases, as Lance Storm was cut from his contract and is now free to work in any promotion. On Twitter, the former Intercontinental Champion said that this marks the first time he's been unemployed since 1994, and Chris Jericho doesn't think Storm should be out of work for long. Replying to his Thrill Seekers partner, Jericho said, "In this biz, that's a hell of a run. Now WWE and Vince McMahon need to pull their heads out of their collective asses and rehire you. Hashtag Lance is a genius." It's interesting that WWE were able to convince Storm to close his wrestling academy and join them as an agent, only to fire him a few months later. But with Chris Jericho's endorsement, Storm's time in the unemployment line may be short-lived. One person who's stayed in WWE is Roman Reigns, and though he hasn't appeared since WrestleMania, the big dog remains in phenomenal shape. On Instagram, Roman shared an image of himself bulking up during Shoulder Week, and The Rock took to the comments to say that he was very proud of his cousin. Reigns vs. The Rock has been a dream match that's even been teased for WrestleMania 37, but with the big dog not taking any risks during the current situation, who knows if he makes it to WWE's biggest show in 2021. Back over to AEW next, as the company may soon see the formation of a new Four Horsemen. With Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard both in AEW, and Ric Flair giving his blessing, it certainly seems like a new set of horsemen could ride, and we might even know who they'll be. Recently, Dax Harwood shared a video of himself giving the 4 hand sign during FTR's Fight for the Fallen match, and Cody Rhodes has previously stated that he's considering having a 4 horsemen in AEW. There's been speculation of Rhodes, FTR, and Shawn Spears being put together to form the new group, but until we see it on AEW TV, any rumors of a new 4 horsemen should be seen as just rumors. For weeks, Impact Wrestling promised some huge appearances at Slammiversary, and the company delivered on their promise. Even before the show started, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson confirmed their deals with Impact, and they weren't the only huge tag team around. Alex Shelley came out of retirement to reform the Motor City Machine Guns with Chris Sabin, and will challenge the North for the Impact World Tag Team Championships on this week's show. There was plenty of WWE influence on the night, as Heath Slater made his Impact debut, and after referencing his recent WWE title match against Drew McIntyre, leveled the interrupting Rohit Raju. Though it seemed like the one-man band is now playing in Impact, that may not be the case, as Heath was asked to leave by Scott D'Amore when reuniting backstage with Rhino, as he's apparently not an Impact wrestler. The vacant spot in the show's Fatal 4-Way World Title main event was filled by Rich Swann, but Eric Young returned to make it a 5-way that was won by Eddie Edwards. Edwards' celebration was short-lived, as on the Titantron, EC3 confirmed that he's back with Impact and has his eyes on the Impact World Title. Though the official numbers aren't in, PW Insider are reporting that Slammiversary 2020 was the company's strongest buy rate in a long time. And given all these huge moments, there's plenty of eyes on Impact Wrestling that until recently weren't paying attention. Over to WWE, and things haven't exactly been peaceful backstage lately, especially following the departure of former executive director Paul Heyman. Now, a source for Ringside News has revealed what the creative process is now in the Bruce Pritchard era, and it certainly sounds like a complicated procedure. The source says that Raw scripts are mostly written by Ryan Ward and John Backstrom, though Ed Koskey has been getting more involved, possibly because he has a close connection to Vince McMahon. These scripts are then sent to writers to work on and write promos for, with the source saying that Pritchard himself doesn't write, but instead makes sure that all the various departments keep in contact and makes the overall booking decisions. On SmackDown, Koskey has a, quote, more interactive method, as the source said he knows how to work with people better than Ward or Backstrom. Ultimately, everything has to be decided on by Vince McMahon himself before it makes it to TV, and given that we've heard plenty of reports of the chairman ripping up scripts and forcing staff to start again, being a WWE writer is clearly no easy feat. Over to SmackDown now, and this week's show saw Naomi lose quickly to Lacey Evans, a loss that fans weren't pleased about. It didn't take long for the hashtag Naomi deserves better to start trending, as fans pointed out some of her accomplishments in WWE, including her 2 reigns as SmackDown Women's Champion. Naomi herself weighed in with a tweet of her own as she thanked her, quote, Nao Mob for their continuous support. In the past, WWE has pushed certain superstars after fan outcry, with Daniel Bryan's Yes movement helping him get into the WrestleMania 30 main event, and time will tell whether big things come for Naomi after this response. One place fans can relive Naomi's big moments is the WWE Network, and now the streaming service is going to see much more extreme content. According to WWE Network News, fans can expect a massive content drop of the original ECW, focused around the 1996 Supercards, as well as an episode of Break It Down focused on the hardcore legend Mick Foley. These Supercards were what ECW built themselves on before their first pay-per-view in 1997, and this new content will give fans a glimpse into what made the show so unique, as well as Foley's final ECW match before he made it to the World Wrestling Federation as the demonic Mankind. And we're ending today with the results from Extreme Rules, as the company's horror show saw plenty of action. In the show's opener, Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura bested the New Day in a tables match to capture the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, whilst Bayley's incredible reign as SmackDown Women's Champion continues with a win over Nikki Cross. Though Apollo Crews was supposed to defend the United States title against MVP, a herniated disc prevented that, and since MVP won via forfeit, the cocky manager crowned himself the new United States Champion. In the first ever eye for an eye match, it was Seth Rollins who kept his 2020 vision as Rey Mysterio's eye allegedly came out, while Sasha Banks seemingly captured her 5th Raw Women's Championship from Asuka. The win was controversial to say the least, as after Asuka accidentally misted the referee, Bayley donned the official shirt and called the match that her friend would supposedly win, though WWE have classed it as a no contest. In the WWE title match, Dolph Ziggler revealed that he and Drew McIntyre would face in an Extreme Rules match, but with a special stipulation that said that Drew couldn't use the stipulation, and that if he got disqualified or counted out, he would also lose the WWE Championship. Despite that, McIntyre was able to retain his title, as his impressive reign as WWE's top dog continues. And in the main event, Bray Wyatt defeated Braun Strowman in their swamp fight, And with The Fiend returning at the end of the lengthy match, fans can expect a rubber match between the two, presumably for Braun's championship.